wanted to show you a couple things on exercise 516, the screwdriver, that have given people some fits in the past. Now I've already done a couple of the steps. What you see right here is the guidelines that it has you draw first off, and then I went ahead and used my curve tool to draw a profile of the screwdriver that fits kind of within those guidelines. So I'm going to turn this one off. Our next step is to revolve this. So I'm going to do it in a couple different viewports so you can see what's going on. And I'm going to click here. I can either type revolve or go up to the surface menu like they tell you to do. I'm just going to use the command revolve. Make sure we're reading the command line. Start of revolve axis. Make sure OSNAP is on. It's going to be right here. End of revolve axis. It's going to be over here on the right. Start angle 0. Revolution angle. If it says 360, you can just hit enter. If not, type 360. We'll hit enter. And there we go. I'm going to change this to shaded viewport so it's a little easier to see. So there is the three-dimensional view of the screwdriver that I just drew. Now the next part is doing the wire cut, so we get the tip down to where it is a flathead screwdriver. And I'm going to do that in the top viewport. And I'm going to use a blue line for this so we can see it. Now what we need to do is draw a line that comes down something like this. Okay? That line that we're going to draw is going to be where we're going to cut the screwdriver. Okay, for the wire cut. So I'm going to type wire cut, hit enter. The cutting curve is that line that I just drew. I'll hit enter. Object to cut is the screwdriver. Hit enter. First depth point, I can hit enter. Now the part that we want to cut away needs to be yellow. Since all of this is highlighted, I need to click over here in this little section. And that part that's highlighted now is what I want to cut away. So I'm going to hit enter. And if I go back to perspective view and rotate it, we can see it cut that away. I'm going to go back to top. Set view top. There we go. Okay, I need to do the same thing again on the other side. Now I could draw another line, or I could just use the mirror command. That, I'm going to hold down shift so it goes on ortho. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. So wire cut, cutting line is this one, hit enter, objects to cut, this, enter, first depth point, hit enter. I wanted to cut this section away, so I'll click there, hit enter, and there we go. Whoops, that should be perspective. And perspective. There we go. Okay, so now it looks a little more like a screwdriver, and I can turn that off. Now the next step is where we're getting to the part that it has given people some fits in the past. I'm going to change to, I can do this in top or front, doesn't really matter which, but I'm going to draw a curve that goes up along here. So I'm going to start down here. Just draw a curve, something like that. If I want, I can move some things. I'm actually going to move this one up a little bit and move this point up a little bit. There we go. Next, we're going to use the pipe command. So I can click on this, type pipe, enter, start radius. We can pull this out until we get something that looks about right. Let's see, type 0.5. What does that do for me? Nope, that's too small. So let's do pipe again. Here, we'll just drag it out. We'll do something about like that. And then something about like that. Hit enter. And it draws a pipe right through there. That's what this object is called. Next, we need to do array polar. Now, when we do array polar, that's going to be easiest in the right viewport here. Okay? And what I'm going to do is type array polar, hit enter. Center of array is going to be right here in the middle. So I can type 0, enter. Number of items, you need to figure out how many of these pipes you want going around there, or how many grooves you want in your screwdriver. I think on the picture it does 7, so I'll type 7, enter. Angle to fill or reference point, I want 360, so we'll hit enter. Where those white lines are is where it's going to add one, so I'll hit enter again. Uh-oh, I didn't do it. Oh, because I didn't have that selected properly. Sorry, let's try this again. So array polar is going to be 0, enter. Number of items, it already says 7, so I can hit enter. 360, enter. There we go. Now we can see it put those in there. Again, I can hit enter. And it's going to look a little crazy for the moment. Like, wait a sec, that's not a screwdriver. Okay, but we just added those pipes in there. Now what we're going to do is use Boolean difference to subtract these pipes, and that's going to leave us with some grooves. So I'm going to click on the screwdriver, type Boolean difference. It's auto-populating, so I can hit enter. And then I want to click on each of these pipes that I drew, and this is where being in perspective helps, because we can rotate it and make sure we click all of them. We want to make sure up here where it says delete input equals yes. It does, so we'll hit enter. And there we go. We just added some grooves to our screwdriver. Now, if you like that, you can keep it. If you don't like it, it's fine to Control-Z and go back and do that again. So we can get rid of that line. And here we have our screwdriver. If you want to play around with, and I could get rid of that original curve as well if I want it. If I want to play around with the render, like it talks about, feel free to do that. But that part we're not super concerned with. Once we get to this point, we'll get some 3D printers set up and we'll actually 3D print these.